I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
In 1972, country and rock shared the same stretch of highway. FM stations went straight from steel guitar twang to bright electric choruses, and record buyers followed.
So, do you remember the way you cried?
From Los Angeles canyons to Nashville studios, these 13 tracks blurred the lines, filled jukeboxes, and set the tone for every roots rock band that came later. Number 1, Take It Easy, Eagles.
Take it easy, take it easy.
Jackson Browne had the first 2 verses, but was stuck on the third when neighbor Glenn Fry heard him running the song over and over in their Echo Park duplex.
Well, I'm running down a road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on.
Fry added the line, "It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford," and the closing verse, then took the finished lyric to a new group he and Don Henley had just formed. Eagles recorded Take It Easy at Olympic Studios in London on the 17th of February, 1972. Producer Glenn Johns kept the track spare, Randy Meisner's high harmony, and a quick couple of takes for the vocal. Asylum Rush released the single on the 1st of May, 1972. KMPS in Phoenix, KHJ Los Angeles, and KIMN in Denver added it the first week. By the 22nd of July, it was sitting at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary list. First Press U.S. sales cleared 500,000 copies by September, earning the group a gold 45. In Canada, the song reached number 8, and in the UK, it scraped into the top 40 on import alone. Rare for a country-flavored track that British radio barely touched. The Winslow, Arizona shout-out turned the tiny Route 66 town into a roadside photo stop. By 1999, the city council had built a standing-on-the-corner park that still draws more than 100,000 visitors a year. The single lifted the Eagles' album from number 142 to number 22 in 6 weeks, and set the blueprint for the smoother end of country rock for the rest of the decade.
We ought to take it easy.
Number 2, Heart of Gold, Neil Young.
I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
Neil Young injured his back on the 1971 tour and was forced to switch from electric guitar to acoustic while he recovered. Looking for musicians who could keep things simple, he booked Nashville's Quadraphonic Sound on the 6th of February, 1971, during a weekend break from appearing on The Johnny Cash Show.
I wanna live, I wanna give.
Session men Ben Keith on steel and Tim Drummond on bass laid down the bed track in 2 takes. That evening, Young ran into James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt at a local party and invited them to the studio to sing the wordless "Ooh La La" refrain. Reprise held the master for a full year, finally releasing the single on the 14th of February, 1972, as the lead-off to Harvest. It entered the Billboard chart at number 63, hit number 1 on the 25th of March, 1972, and stayed there a second week while Harvest did the same on the album list. The first time a Canadian artist topped both U.S. charts simultaneously. Cashbox reported average top 40 rotation of 30 plays a week in April, the highest of any rock single that year. Heart of Gold also reached number 1 in Canada and number 10 in the UK, giving Young his first British top 10. The Recording Industry Association of America certified a gold million seller in July 1972. Worldwide sales have since passed 4 million. Bob Dylan, hearing the song everywhere on tour, later joked on stage that it made me feel like I was listening to myself. A backhanded compliment that underlined just how deeply the track cut into mainstream radio that spring. Number 3, Rocky Mountain High, John Denver.
But the Colorado Rocky Mountain High.
John Denver and guitarist Mike Taylor wrote the song during a week of camping near Aspen in August 1972, scribbling lines about Perseid meteors and Colorado River rapids in a spiral notebook. Denver cut the track at RCA's New York studio on the 29th of August, 1972, using a 12-string Ovation, Jim Connor's auto harp, and a small string section arranged by Bob Emery. RCA serviced the single to radio on the 30th of October 1972. Denver premiered it the same night on The Tonight Show. By the 27th of January 1973, the song sat at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Adult Contemporary list, moving more than 700,000 U.S. singles in 3 months. Canada's RPM chart kept it at number 1 for 2 straight weeks, and the album of the same name reached platinum before the end of the year. In 1975, Colorado tourism officials reported a 10% jump in out-of-state camping permits and credited the chorus for the spike.
Around a campfire, everybody's high.
The Colorado legislature made Rocky Mountain High an official state song in 2007. Denver's master recording has logged over 2 million U.S. radio plays, despite a brief post-9/11 radio freeze when programmers misread the word high as drug slang. Number 4, Garden Party, Rick Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band.
See, you can't please everyone, so you.
Rick Nelson wrote Garden Party on a legal pad the morning after he was booed at Madison Square Garden's Oldies show on the 15th of October 1971. The crowd wanted Poor Little Fool, not his newer country rock set. He took the fresh lyric to United Western Recorders in Los Angeles on the 17th of May, 1972, tracking live with the Stone Canyon Band, Alan Kemp on Telecaster, Tom Brumley on pedal steel, and Rick on a Martin D28.
We didn't look the same. I said hello to Mary Lou.
Decca shipped the single on the 3rd of July, 1972. Within 4 weeks, it was climbing every U.S. chart, hitting number 6 on the Hot 100, number 1 Adult Contemporary, and earning a gold 45 by January 1973. Cashbox noted it was Nelson's first top 10 since For You in 1964. The success pulled the Garden Party album to number 32 and put the Stone Canyon Band on a 120-date North American tour. In the UK, the single peaked at number 44 but stayed on Radio 1's A-list for 6 weeks. Nelson spelled out the Garden crowd in code: Mr. Hughes for George Harrison, Yoko for Yoko Ono, and the inside jokes kept FM DJs recapping the backstory every time they spun the record, helping it pass 1 million U.S. airplays by the end of the decade.
Ease yourself. La, da, da, la, da, da, da.
Number 5, Peaceful Easy Feeling, Eagles.
And I got a peaceful, easy feeling.
Jack Tempchin wrote the lyric in a San Diego coffee shop, finishing lines on the back of a Der Wiener Schnitzel takeout bag. Glenn Frey picked up the song after a set at the Troubadour, worked out the 3-part harmony with Don Henley and Randy Meisner, and cut the master at Olympic Studios in London on the 17th of June, 1972. Lead player Bernie Leadon added the Fender Telecaster fills in one pass. Asylum released Peaceful Easy Feeling on the 1st of December, 1972, the third single from the debut album. KHJ in Los Angeles and WLS in Chicago added it the first week. By the 20th of January 1973, it sat at number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 3 on the Easy Listening chart, selling about 400,000 singles by spring.
I get this feeling I may know.
While it missed the UK Top 40, steady U.S. airplay kept the album Eagles on the Billboard 200 for 78 weeks and pushed stateside sales past 1 million before the end of 1975. Glenn Frey sang this song at every Eagles show from 1972 through the 2015 History of the Eagles tour.
I know you won't let me down.
Number 6, A Good Feeling to Know, Poco. Richie Furay brought the title line to rehearsal as a nod to the laid-back vibe of Laurel Canyon, then built the verse around Rusty Young's steel guitar hooks. The band recorded it at RCA Studio A in Hollywood on the 15th of May, 1972, with producer Jack Richardson stacking 8 tracks of vocal harmony for the chorus. Epic shipped the single on the 5th of September 1972 and mailed 1,500 promo copies to FM stations. KTAY in Los Angeles put it into heavy rotation, and the song entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 88 on the 14th of October, peaking at number 54 4 weeks later. Cashbox listed it as the second most added AOR single of the month, and Midwest album rock stations spun it hourly, yet it never crossed into top 40 day parts. The parent album reached number 69 on the Billboard 200, enough to earn the group a spot on ABC's In Concert in February 1973. But Epic dropped single support afterward. Frustrated by the near miss, Furey left Poco later that year to start Souther Hillman Furey, and the band's biggest radio shot of 1972 turned into the closing song of his final Poco set. Number 7. Melissa, the Allman Brothers Band.
With sweet Melissa.
Filed under Southern rock, Melissa carried the mellow guitar voicings and front porch storytelling that helped blur the line between Southern blues and emerging country rock. Greg Allman wrote it in 1967, but Duane preferred harder jams, so the ballad sat unrecorded until the band wanted a softer track after Duane's fatal motorcycle crash in October 1971. They cut it at Criteria Studios, Miami on the 9th of December 1971. Dickie Betts on a borrowed flat-top Martin, Barry Oakley filling the low end with a Fender 6, no electric leads, just gently picked steel string lines that would influence later country rock pickers like Vince Gill. Producer Tom Dowd mixed the master on the 4th of January 1972.
And he's on the run, sunbeam shining through his hair.
Eat a Peach hit stores on the 12th of February 1972, with Melissa opening side 3. AM outlets in Atlanta and Jacksonville spun it first. By April, FM programmers in Chicago, Boston, and Los Angeles had added it to their laid-back evening blocks, helping the double album climb to number 4 on the Billboard 200. Though never a U.S. single, constant airplay kept Eat a Peach on the chart 51 weeks and pushed it to platinum by 1975. Greg Allman, calling it Duane's favorite, featured Melissa in virtually every solo set for the next 4 decades. Its acoustic-led groove showing how Southern rock's gentler side fed directly into the softer wing of 1970s country rock.
Crossroads.
Number 8. Sweet Virginia, the Rolling Stones.
Come on down, Sweet Virginia.
The Rolling Stones were never a country rock band, but every now and then they wandered down that dusty road just long enough to leave a mark. Sweet Virginia is one of those moments. The Stones cut the laid-back shuffle at Keith Richards' rented villa in Nelcote, France during the sweltering summer of 1971. Mick Jagger tracked the vocal barefoot in a hallway. Final mixing moved to Sunset Sound, Los Angeles in March 1972, and Exile on Main Street landed in stores on the 12th of May. Although never released as an A-side in the U.S., Sweet Virginia picked up heavy album track play on FM stations from San Francisco to New York, thanks to its front porch acoustic guitars, and the sing-along line got to scrape that shit right off your shoes. Atlantic shipped a promo 45 to American radio in June, with the words snipped for daytime spins, but most late-night jocks preferred the uncut album version. The song helped push Exile to number 1 in both the US and UK, and it became a nightly staple on the Stones' 1972 North American tour, usually placed mid-set to give Richards a breather before the electric numbers kicked back in.
Drop your reds, drop your greens and blues.
Number 9. Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues, Danny O'Keefe.
I'm Charlie's got the blues.
Danny O'Keefe first cut the song in 1967 for a small Seattle label, but the single went nowhere and he kept the copyright in a drawer. Nashville producer Arif Martin heard a tape 5 years later and brought O'Keefe into New York's Atlantic Studios on the 17th of May, 1972. Martin slowed the tempo. Atlantic released the track on the 8th of July, 1972. WLAC Nashville and KNBR San Francisco were early believers. By the 7th of October, the song had climbed to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 5 on the Easy Listening chart. Canadian radio pushed it to number 3 on RPM's adult list, and cover versions by Elvis Presley and Charlie Rich followed within a year.
Everybody's leaving town.
O'Keeffe's original moved over 900,000 singles by spring 1973, and the album O'Keeffe reached gold status on the strength of a tune he had filed away as too sad for radio. Number 10, listen to a country song, Loggins and Messina.
Just sip that wine and have a really good time and listen to a country song. Now listen up.
Kenny Loggins wrote the chorus during a late-night jam at Jim Messina's Laurel Canyon house in December 1971. The pair finished the lyric the next afternoon, name-checking fiddle player Al Garth in the second verse. They tracked the song at Jim's home studio on the 11th of March 1972, adding Merrill Brigante's brushed snare and a double-tracked mandolin line from Messina. Columbia shipped the single on the 22nd of May 1972 as the second release from the album Loggins and Messina. Country stations in Texas and Oklahoma picked it up first. Los Angeles Top 40 followed once KHJ saw strong request lines. The record peaked at number 4 on Billboard's Easy Listening chart and number 63 on the Hot 100 on the 12th of August 1972, while climbing to number 13 on the country singles list. Rare crossover ground that year. Sales passed 400,000 copies in the United States, helping the parent album break into the Billboard Top 20 and launching Loggins and Messina's first headline tour, a 7-city run that sold out 3 consecutive nights at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles. Number 11, Operator, That's Not the Way It Feels, Jim Croce.
Operator, could you help me place this car?
Jim Croce wrote the story after hearing sailors at San Diego Naval Base line up at payphones to place breakup calls before shipping out to Vietnam. He and producer Terry Cashman tracked the song at New York's Hit Factory on the 10th of March 1972, lining up Maury Muleson's finger-picked Martin and Tommy West's subtle Fender Rhodes in a single afternoon. ABC released the 45 on the 23rd of September 1972, 6 weeks after You Don't Mess Around with Jim had cracked the top 10.
Isn't that the way they say it goes? But let's forget all that.
Operator entered the Hot 100 at number 72 on the 30th of September, climbing steadily through fall, and peaked at number 17 on the 16th of December 1972. It also reached number 11 on Billboard's Easy Listening list and sold more than 600,000 singles in the United States by New Year's Day. Canadian RPM radio placed it at number 9, and the song's long-distance imagery resonated so widely that AT&T purchased regional ad spots featuring the chorus during the 1973 holiday season. Croce performed Operator solo on American Bandstand, one of the few acoustic sets in the show's history, and the live response drove the parent album to platinum status within 18 months.
That's not the way it feels. No, 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 no.
Number 12, Old Man, Neil Young.
Oh man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more.
The song leans more folk rock than straight country, yet its pedal steel lines and front porch swing make it a natural fit beside 1972's country rock wave. Young wrote the lyrics shortly after buying Broken Arrow Ranch near Woodside, California, trading stories with its longtime foreman, Louis Avila. He cut the basic track at Quadraphonic Sound Nashville on the 6th of February, 1971, the same overnight session that produced Heart of Gold. Tim Drummond set the pulse on upright bass, and Ben Keith laid down the high, lonesome steel part in a single pass. The next evening, James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt stopped by a local party, where they added rich vocal harmonies to the chorus, Taylor borrowing producer Elliot Mazur's banjo guitar for extra color.
I need someone to love me the whole day through.
Reprise issued Old Man on the 17th of April, 1972. It entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 69, peaked at number 31 on the 10th of June, 1972, and held the chart for 13 weeks. Impressive airtime for a mid-tempo acoustic ballad. In Canada, it reached number 4 on the RPM 100, while UK sales, driven by album play, helped Harvest pass 150,000 copies that year. The B-side, The Needle and the Damage Done, kept FM programmers locked on the album, and by November, Harvest had shipped 2 million units in the US. Old Man resurfaced on national playlist in 2022 after an NFL broadcast sync sent streams up more than twofold during that week.
In your eyes, run around the same old town.
Number 13, You're Still on My Mind. Graham Parsons with the Flying Burrito Brothers. Live, 1972.
A broken heart, and you're still on my mind.
The Burritos first cut this Luke McDaniel honky-tonk tune in 1968 for the Gilded Palace of Sin, but the version most stations picked up came from the winter of 1971-72 tour, recorded for the live LP Last of the Red Hot Burritos, released by A&M in May 1972. Graham Parsons had left by then, yet the tour set list he built, anchored by You're Still on My Mind, was still in place. Sung by Rick Roberts, with Al Perkins on keening pedal steel and Byron Berline on twin fiddle breaks. KSAN San Francisco and WBCN Boston began airing the live take in late June. Within a month, it was the album's most requested cut and helped push Last of the Red Hot Burritos to number 176 on the Billboard 200, the band's best U.S. showing. Across the Atlantic, BBC One slotted the track on Bob Harris's Country Meets Folk Hour, giving the Burritos their first sustained UK airplay and boosting sales enough to break the British Top 40 on the trade paper album chart. Though Parsons moved on to record GP later that year, the 1972 live single kept his blend of Bakersfield twang and rock rhythm in rotation, and modern country rock acts from the Eagles to the Jayhawks still cite the Burritos' 1972 arrangement as a template for mixing steel guitar with backbeat drums. So that's our run through 1972's country rock standouts. Which song still gets the most plays on your stereo? Let us know below and hit subscribe if you're ready for the next spin through music history.